Rachel, thanks very much for coming today.
You're very welcome, Manoj.
Okay, so you work as a teacher in a secondary school.
That's correct. I'm a chemistry teacher in a secondary school.
Secondary school. And, I run this Human Enquiry Project.
Okay.
And we're looking to find ways of helping children with all the pressures they're under in schools.
Sounds interesting.
What sort of pressures do you think your students are under at the moment? What sort of stresses?
Well, there's lots of pressures. There's lots of exam pressure, lots of pressure to do well. There's lots of fear of failure. There's lots of pressures to do with peers and wanting to be like everyone else and what everyone else maybe has. Lots of pressure around appearance, how do you look. And the other issue is these sort of pressures aren't necessarily new, but what is new is there's no way to escape from that. So there's the 24-hour-a-day social media expectations that come with that. So there's a lot of pressure, a lot of stress.
In fact, I was reading the other day that up to 80% of students.
80%, yeah. Oh. That wouldn't surprise me.
And actually the number for teachers is similar.
Yeah, and that certainly wouldn't surprise me.
Yes.
Which is a shame, isn't it?
It is a shame that there's such a lot of stress in education.
Yeah.
You know?
It just seems to be accepted as that's the way it is.
And what I want to do is challenge that.
Okay.
And I think you don't have to live that way with stress at all.
Right.
So shall we explore how that might be possible?
Please do. I mean, the skeptic in me is sort of thinking that it's not possible, but I'm quite open to being sure.
Well, let's consider a scenario, just a hypothetical one.
Mm-hmm.
Say that I've been on this amazing holiday to Disneyland and I'm telling you, you're my best friend, and I'm telling you about all the rides I've been on.
Okay.
What are you feeling?
Jealous.
Yeah, that's a common response.
And then I'm feeling bad for feeling jealous.
Now, who do you think is responsible for your jealousy?
Honestly, I think it's you.
Okay, I'm responsible for your jealousy. And how is that jealousy making you feel?
Very uncomfortable and possibly a little bit angry.
Okay. And do you think that affects our friendship in some way?
At this minute in time, yeah.
Yeah. So it affects our friendship. Yeah. It makes us angry. Jealousy makes us angry. And if we're angry enough, we'll want to retaliate in some way.
So I would like to tell you about my holiday, or I want to trump your holiday somehow.
Even if you haven't been on it?
Yeah.
Yes. We often do that. That can happen too. Okay. And so wouldn't it be amazing if we could find a way of getting past this jealousy?
That would be really amazing.
Now, do you think you can help being jealous? If I'm telling you something, can you try not to be jealous? Does that work?
No, it doesn't.
No, because these feelings come up so quickly.
Yeah, it's not. It's just automatic.
It's an automatic reaction, isn't it? That's the other key thing, right? So, how do we begin, or how can we get into this thing? What could we do to understand the roots of that and be free of it?
So is that what we're trying to do? Are we not just trying to stop feeling jealous?
No.
Push it down and...
That doesn't work. We've tried that, right?
Right.
Trying not to be jealous doesn't work because in fact it makes us feel even worse because we're unsuccessful at something we're trying to do.
Okay, that's good.
Okay. So we're trying to understand.
Right.
And I think perhaps the way to begin is to try to understand a feeling is to be able to notice it, right?
Right, okay.
Okay. But to notice things, we need a different set of skills.
Yeah, how do I do that? How do I just notice?
How do we look at a feeling? It's so difficult, right? We're so used to being able to look at the world outside, we don't know how to look at a feeling.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, maybe we could begin with this glass of water in front of us.
Okay.
All right? Shall we try and do that?
Okay.
So if you have a look at that and just tell me what you see there and also what's happening in your own mind as you see it.
Okay. So I am seeing a glass of water on the table.
Yeah. And what are you thinking at the same time? What's going through your mind?
I'm thinking, this is a little bit silly. How can this possibly help? I'm also thinking this is a waste of my time, and maybe I should be thinking about what I'm going to have for tea.
Okay.
In fact, I am now thinking about what I'm going to have for tea.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, did you notice one thing? That when we name something, we stop looking at it. Right? As soon as you name that as a glass of water, you stop looking at
Absolutely.
it. And you also then had all these reactions to it. You know, it's a bit silly and and so on.
The other thing I was thinking was, am I doing this right? How is this? What am I supposed to be saying?
Yes. Is it right or wrong?
Yeah.
Okay. So we always think, is it right or wrong? Is it, and so on. Okay. So a little bit of a different exercise now.
Okay.
And again, we're learning from this, which is to look at that object on the table, not to name it, and just to look at it and also notice all the thoughts going through our mind, okay? Until all that is left is me and that object without a single thought coming in the way. Let's try that and tell me what happens.
Okay.
What do you notice?
And the first thing I'm noticing is the shape of the glass, the shape of the rim of the glass. I'm looking at the water level. I'm noticing the bubbles. I'm noticing the light, how it's hitting the bottom of the glass. I'm noticing how the water just moved there when I touched the glass.
And I can see the shadows.
Yeah.
And if we look at it from different directions, we'd see different aspects of it, don't we? In fact, there are a few bubbles there that if you look more carefully.
Yeah.
All right.
And I've just noticed that while I was doing that, I wasn't thinking about my tea.
Interesting. So when we notice something really, we pay attention, our thinking process quietens down.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
And now the question is, can we look at a feeling in the same way?
And do you think that's possible?
Okay, so maybe we could explore how this can help us to look at this feeling of jealousy and see what we can learn from it.
So let me get this straight. You think doing something like what we've just done with the glass of water, we could do that with a feeling, not just an object?
Yes, because the key thing is to notice.
Right.
That's the first step, is to observe, is to notice what's happening.
Right. Okay.
And if we can begin in the world outside by looking at something without naming it and noticing all the detail, and in that noticing, we also see that our mind becomes really quiet. We can also look at a feeling in the same way.
And I suppose that's something we could practice with different objects, first of all, just noticing things.
Yeah. Like, look at a tree without calling it a tree. Just all the leaves and the light and the...
Okay.
Nature is a great teacher.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Okay, so Manoj, we've talked about noticing and noticing objects and how we can do that well. I'm still a little unsure about how this will help. How is this going to help with a feeling? How will this stop us feeling jealous, for example?
Okay, so there are 3 steps to inquiry. The first is to notice, which we're trying to do. Notice without naming something.
Yeah.
To notice all the details. The second step is really hard.
Okay.
Which is acceptance.
Right.
Now, if you're saying something to me, say you're telling me about your holiday and I'm feeling jealous.
Yeah.
My normal response is to blame you for my jealousy.
Okay.
Right? But actually, is what you're saying causing my jealousy or my reaction to what you're saying? It's my reaction, isn't it?
Yeah.
And because the reaction is coming from me, actually, it's not your fault
Okay.
that I'm jealous. Do you see that?
Yeah. So we need to be a little bit responsible for whatever feeling we feel.
That's really difficult, though.
It's really difficult.
Because our mind immediately makes us think, wrongly, I think,
Okay.
that the other person has caused my feeling.
Right.
But it's my reaction to you, what you said, that's caused my own feeling. So actually, I'm responsible for my own feeling, right?
Yeah. So we need to notice that.
We need
First
to
of all.
notice that first. So it's called acceptance.
Right.
Accept that, firstly, I'm feeling jealous.
Yeah.
Secondly, I'm responsible for my own jealousy.
Okay.
So immediately, that makes me stop being angry with you, because I know it's not your fault.
Does it make you stop being angry with you, though, instead?
It could be, couldn't it? Because I don't want to be jealous.
Yeah.
So have you noticed also that our feelings create all these reactions of right and wrong,
Yeah.
good and bad, right?
Yeah.
And actually, to look at something, if I'm thinking that glass of water is good or bad or right or wrong, I can't look at it anymore.
Okay.
Right?
So we need to stop labeling feelings as good or bad,
Yes.
right or wrong,
And you know,
even if they feel good or bad.
yes, do you know what helps me with that is realizing that those feelings are the same in all human beings.
Right.
Okay?
Okay.
It's not unique to me.
Okay.
Jealousy is not unique to you or me. All human beings have the same feeling, because that's just how our mind functions. So we're just trying to understand it as to why. What's going on?
I think it's very easy to sometimes think that it is unique to you, though.
Yes, because we think we're unique, don't we?
Yeah.
You and I. Because what's unique about you and me is, of course, we look different, don't we? Different gender. But also, we've had different experiences. So we think, well, I must be different to you. But as we are learning, the feeling of
Right.
jealousy is the same in you and in me,
Okay.
right?
So it's sort of questioning those beliefs.
Questioning those feelings, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to understand. So the third step is to ask, what can I learn? So now that I've noticed it,
Okay.
without naming, I have accepted responsibility for it.
Okay.
My third question is, what can I learn?
Okay. This sounds quite complicated, is it not?
Absolutely not.
Right.
10-year-old children get it
Really?
like that.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So, if I was telling you about my amazing Disneyland holiday,
Yeah.
what were you thinking? I know you were feeling jealous, but what were you thinking?
I was thinking I would like to go to Disneyland. I was thinking I'll never be able to go to Disneyland. I was thinking I must be inferior to you. My life isn't as good as yours.
Okay. So, would you say that you were comparing yourself with me?
Absolutely.
Now, the question is, so we're learning something else, that behind the feeling of jealousy is this movement or pattern of thinking where my mind is constantly comparing itself
Okay.
with others all the time, right?
Yeah.
Now, were you aware that you were comparing yourself, or were you just aware of the feeling of jealousy?
I think I was just aware of the feeling.
Yeah. That's what happens to me too.
Yeah.
That means I just notice the feeling of jealousy. I don't see the mechanism behind
Yeah.
it, which is my mind's comparing,
Yeah.
right?
But I wouldn't even question that that wasn't just normal. That wasn't just the way it is.
Yeah. We never challenge ourselves,
No.
do we? We just assume that we all have to live with jealousy.
Yeah.
And we can see all the damage it causes.
Yeah.
Because if you're jealous, you can't be unhappy, can you?
No.
You know? And the number one thing we all want to do is to be happy,
Yeah.
right? So it would be fantastic if we could find an answer to this problem
It would be
of
amazing.
jealousy, right? All the problems of social media would disappear because my mind would just not be comparing itself with others all the time.
There's so many ways in which we compare all
Yes.
the time, unconsciously.
Yeah. What are the different ways in which we do that?
So we compare what sort of car we drive,
What sort of house we live in?
yeah, what clothes we wear,
Yeah. What our children are doing?
what our children are doing, absolutely, how much money we have.
How much money we had
Yeah.
And how much money we have compared to others.
Yeah.
We compare ourselves with our brothers and sisters.
We do.
You know, where they are, where we are in life.
Yeah. We compare ourselves with the people on the adverts.
On
people in the TV programs.
Yeah, and at work we compare ourselves with all our colleagues.
Yeah.
And so it causes so much anxiety, right? And so much stress.
But how do you take that away?
Okay. So what we're learning is that there's this unconscious pattern of thinking where my mind is comparing itself with you all the time, or with everybody.
Yeah.
Right? So and so that process is creating this feeling of jealousy. Do you understand?
So it's not you or what you've said, it's my mind and its processes.
Yes, but it's not your mind that's unique to you, it's the human
just
mind.
The mind.
The human mind.
The mind doing what the mind does.
It does all the time. Now the next question to ask is that intelligent?
Not if it causes so much pain.
It causes us so much pain.
Yeah.
Right? So it can't be intelligent, can
No.
it? Right? So the question is, how can we respond to this fact that my mind is comparing itself with others all the time with intelligence?
And is that where the noticing and the acceptance comes in?
Yes. Noticing, acceptance, and asking, what can I learn? And I've learned this thing about comparison. So then the next question is, how can I respond to this fact with intelligence?
Right? So just like the glass of water, but with a feeling.
Yes.
Okay.
I've noticed the feeling. How can I respond? Because we're all intelligent.
Are we?
I think we have the capacity for intelligence.
Okay.
And
is this a different type of intelligence than learning a set of facts for ourselves?
yes. This intelligence is linked to understanding.
Okay.
It's linked to understanding ourselves and how our minds work.
And can anyone do that?
I think absolutely everybody has this capacity, all the way from little children to adults. And, as part of this project, I talk to little children and I talk all the way through primary, secondary school, universities. Everyone has this capacity for intelligence. So perhaps I could tell you a story of
Please do.
how, when I asked this question to 10-year-old children, what they said. Okay. So I asked 10-year-old children, the same discussion you and I had.
Yeah.
I said, how can we respond to this fact of comparison, that my mind's comparing itself with others all the time, with intelligence? And this girl said to me, well, maybe the answer is not to compare ourselves with others all the time. And I said, how would our lives change? I asked her, how would our lives change if we could do that? And she said, we'd be free. That's a 10-year-old.
10-year-old.
So if she can do that, we can certainly do that.
Sounds good to me.
Okay.
Let's do that.
So I think, but there's got to be one note of caution that if you set that up as a goal for yourself, then that can also become a problem. That means you try not to compare yourself with others, you don't succeed, and then you criticize yourself. So we've got to be just careful of avoiding that.
That's another mind pattern.
Mind pattern, yes. So all that's required here is to observe, to accept, to learn.
Okay.
And it's the learning which is my mind's comparing itself. And to notice that this is what's happening, because it's no longer unconscious, right?
Yeah.
I can see it clearly. Just like I can see the glass of water, it's not hidden.
Yeah.
Because now I can see it clearly. And just the noticing and learning starts shifting something inside me.
So we just need to practice.
We just need to keep looking, accepting, learning, and in that process, an inner transformation begins. And you'll end up in this place where you can respond to life with intelligence, which means you don't compare yourself with others all the time.
Okay, let's do that.
Do you think we could try that and see?
Absolutely.
You know, the kids I talk to say, I said, can you try that? They say, absolutely. And they say they can.
Well, if they say it, let's do it.
Okay.